Okay, and welcome back. In today's video, we are going to do a very simple hello world contract from scratch. So let's get started. We are in our badass hard hat setup repo. I've opened up Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to start by just copy pasting this contract. And I'm going to rename it Hello World. Okay. I'm going to name this contract Hello World. And let's get things going, and we'll explain what's going on line by line. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to write your first smart contract. We're going to compile it, deploy it, and then poke around with it. The first thing that we'll need to do is create the Solidity file. I've done that by creating hello world.sol. Now, make sure that you've created this new file, but also that you've created a deploy script for this file. Now, very simply, I'm just going to copy paste this one, and you can see that this one's called copy. I'm going to rename it so that it matches the hello world contract. And then within here, I'm going to update this to hello world. And this is referencing the contract name inside of my .sol file. I'll save that. Okay, let's write out the first lines of our Solidity smart contract here. Now, on the first line, we put the license of the code, and I'm going to use the MIT license here. Now, your code will compile without a license, but if you don't put a license, when you compile the contract, it will give out a bunch of warnings. We don't want that, so I've went ahead and added the MIT license. The next thing we're going to do is to specify the compiler version. I'll set it to 0.8.17, and we do that by saying pragma, solidity, and then the version number, along with a semicolon. Now, if you want to target a compiler version that is greater than or equal to 0.817, you do that by placing the caret before it, and that tells the Solidity compiler that this contract is meant for a compiler greater than or equal to 0.8.17. It's best practice to set the compiler version to a specific number, however, and you definitely do that when you're deploying a contract to mainnet, so that you don't fall prey to breaking changes from future versions. For now, we'll leave it like this, and we're ready to define the first smart contract. We do that by typing contract in line 6, and then we give that contract a name, in this case, hello world. Open curly braces, and we're ready to start coding in line 7. Let's go ahead and create string public, and we'll call it some string equal to hello world. Now, what this means is that we'll have a read access to the variable SumString after we deploy the smart contract. We've also set it to hello world, and when we deploy the contract, that variable SumString will be stored on the blockchain. Let's compile this contract and deploy it in our terminal. I'm going to navigate over to my terminal over here. The first thing, of course, is that we're going to run our local chain using the hard hat command. You can see here that that is running. We're listening on the correct address, and we have a bunch of addresses that hard hat has given us. In my second terminal window, I'm going to run deploy. This compiles and deploys the contract to my local chain. One file compiled successfully. So now we want to quickly test that the contract does what we expect. Let's navigate over to Sidekick, app.sidekick.xyz, and click on sync file. We're going to choose this contract addresses.json, which includes the different addresses and ABI files. You can see here that it's included the hello world contract. We'll click continue, and we'll navigate over to the hello world tab. You can see here that we have that function, SumString, as a read. I'll click on it, and we have hello world. Easy peasy. Congratulations. This is the simplest smart contract you can write. So now, of course, what would happen if we changed this to hello world? My name is Rod. Save it. Once this recompiles, we should see that this is also changing. And let's get to the next lesson. We'll create a counter that increases and decreases some count. Looking forward to it. Stay tuned.